So this is quite an amazing gospel to begin our school masses with. It's a big giant fight between a demon and Jesus. And you might remember this from the past because I've preached about this a lot, but one of the tricks that the devil likes to do is he likes to make himself seem as though he's more powerful than God, or at least on an equal playing field. It's kind of like, imagine you hear this big giant bark, and it sounds like, who would love to, all of a sudden hear this like angry bark, and you see the shadow of this monstrous dog coming towards you. And then when you really see the real thing, it's like a little tiny dog going, ruff. And you're sort of like, wait a minute. That shadow made it look big and terrible. And if the lights were off, or you weren't able to see the little dog, you might think that this is a big, giant monster. And so it's important for us to remember that Satan is nothing compared to God. Satan is a creature. He's an angel that fell. God is God. He's the one who created everything. And so there isn't a competition between the two of them. Satan would like to think so. He would like to think that he's on the same level with Jesus. But the comparison would be, imagine if I went up to, who would you say would be like the greatest, let's see, what would be a good sport? How about the greatest football player? Who would be a good football player? Someone who's like a good tackler. What do you think? I know nothing about football. Yeah. What's his name? That guy sounds pretty good. So 5-time All-Star. So imagine if I went up to him and I tried to tackle him. What's he gonna do? He's gonna look at me, and I'm gonna be on his leg, being like, I got you, I got you, I got you. And he'll be like, who is this guy down here? And then imagine, I try to pick a fight with him, I'm not going to win. Because he's probably got giant muscles like this, and I have muscles like that. So that's something to remember in this battle. There's a demon that tries to pick a fight with Jesus. Not a smart thing to do for that demon. And the way that we know that he's trying to pick a fight is he tells Jesus, I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Because whenever someone said that in the world of the Bible, I know who you are, it means I know your name and I have power over you. But notice how Jesus doesn't really answer that battle. He just says, you need to leave right now. He says, be quiet, come out of him. And then it says, the demon threw the man down in front of them, but came out of him without doing any harm to that man. So a lot of times, there's fear that the enemy likes to work with. But what we have to remember is that when we call upon the name of Jesus, he is way stronger, way bigger. And he'll always win. Now, a thing for us to remember is the way that we call upon the Lord and have his strength is by making sure that we live in our baptism. So if you think of your baptism as armor, has anyone ever been to medieval times before? Saw all of those guys in those suits of armor? Or I know at least one of you is a hockey player, so you have that armor of all that stuff on. But imagine if you would try to play hockey and you just took all of that equipment and you just put it in a backpack and you go out to play hockey and you're like, hey, I got my equipment. And the other team is like, you don't have it on you. And what's going to happen when they come and they check you and you don't have any shoulder pads, you don't have a helmet on, it's all in a backpack behind you, you still have it. But is it going to do you any good? Not at all. I mean, imagine football players. They put all of their stuff maybe in like a little tiny wagon, like one of those Radio Flyer red wagons behind them, and they're going out and they have it like on a string, and they're like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to play football at the, the Super Bowl or something like that. And someone runs at them, and they don't have anything. They're like, hey, I have my equipment on, no one can tackle me. What do you think is going to happen to that guy? He's going to get hurt. He's probably going to have to go to the doctor for a little while, I imagine. So, as long as we have our equipment on, as long as we have our armor on, then Satan can't touch us. But what he tries to do is he says, you don't really need that helmet right now. You don't really need those shoulder pads. You can do it on your own. And maybe we start thinking like that. And we start, in a sense, saying, yeah, I don't really need this on right now. I don't need this. And pretty soon, guess what happens to all of that armor? It's in our backpack. It's in a wagon. And when that happens, that's when we can get in trouble. So we just have to remember that. In the morning, here's a great thing to do is say, Lord, help me to live in my baptism. Help me to say yes to you and no to the enemy. Help me to put on the helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, shield of faith, all these different parts of the armor of God. Because when we have that on, Satan can't touch us.